Block Education Officer, Shimoga Taluk, Science paper for class 9. So the first question, the value of G at the center of the earth is 0 ms to the power of square. So second is male and female voices differentiated using amplitude, speed, frequency, momentum. It is frequency. So the SI moment of momentum is, so kg m by s. So next we have what happens when the distance between two objects is doubled and y. What happens when the distance between two objects is doubled and y? So when the mass of an object is doubled, then the force between them is also doubled. So when the distance between the objects is doubled, then force between them is 1/4. So when the distance between the object is tripled, then the force between them is 1/9. So this is the answer. So calculate the wavelength of a sound wave whose frequency is 220 Hz and speed is 440 ms. So in a given medium. So solution is 2m is the wavelength of the sound wave whose frequency is 220 Hz and speed is 440 m by s. So hence the wavelength of the sound is 2m. Motion of the object A, B, C, D are given in the graph. So which object has greater speed and which object is moving slowly? So this is our question. But related to this itself, but A, B, C, D have been placed a bit differently. So I have one more question. So I'll show you that and explain this. So four objects A, B, C, D are running on the level of horizontal road with different speed, and every object remains uniform. The distance D and the time T are given. So you can see D, C, B, A have been taken in this question. So it is defined as the rate of change of distance per unit time. So the formula speed V is equal to ds by dt, where ds is equal to the change is the distance and the dt change in time. So it is the scalar quantity because it has only magnitude but not direction. The slope of the distance versus the time graph represent the speed. So for this question, the slope of distance versus the time graph represent the speed. From the graph, the slope of the object A is minimum while the slope of the object D is maximum. So A is slowest and the D is the fastest. But in our question, we can see, so C has the greater speed and B is the moving very slowly. Okay. So moving on to the seventh question. So A, what are the various energy transformations that occur in the following situation? Imagine you are riding a electric motor bike. Mechanical energy means the sum of kinetic energy and potential energy. So as you ride your bike, the muscular chemical energy transforms converted mainly into mechanical energy. Unfortunately, friction will produce heat and sound and will reduce the amount of mechanical energy. So in the same seventh, we have a B question. So when switch is on, an electric fan starts to rotate. So when we switch a fan, the fan converts a significant portion of the electrical energy into kinetic energy of the fan blades. So some part of the electric energy is converted into heat. So the correct energy transformation will be electrical energy to kinetic energy. So eighth question is explain ultrasonography. I don't know, during my typing it was coming bold, underline and all those things. So however possible, because you people are hurrying up for the paper, so I have done this. So please manage. So ultrasonography is an imaging technology that sends high frequency sound waves into the body. So as a result, an echo signal is produced which a computer then uses to create an actual time representation of the body's physiology and anatomy. So the ninth question is draw a sketch of a velocity and time graph for a moving car with the following data. So predict the type of motion. So please yourself you do it. So 10th question, state Archimedes principle, write its application. What are the acceleration due to gravity? Next question is state Archimedes principle, write its application. What is acceleration due to gravity? So Archimedes principle states that an object emerged in a fluid, fully or partially, experiences an upward buoyant force So that is equal in magnitude to the force of gravity on the displaced fluid. See, buoyant means what? So if you take an orange with the peel and put it into water, so it floats. So that is buoyant force. Okay. So Archimedes continued to do more experiments and came up with the buoyancy principle, that a ship will float when the weight of the water is displaces equally the weight of the ship, and anything will float if it is shaped to displace its own weight of water before it reaches the point where it will be submerged. So next is acceleration due to gravity is the acceleration gained by an object due to gravitational force. Its SI unit is m by s square. So it has both magnitude and direction. So hence it's a vector quantity. Acceleration due to gravity is represented by g. The standard value of g on the surface of the earth at the sea level is 9.8 m by s square. So 11th question, a ship sends out ultrasound that returns from the seabed detects after 2 seconds. If the speed of the ultrasound through the sea water is 1530 m by s, calculate total distance traveled by the ultrasound and distance of the seabed from the ship. See, here it is given that the ultrasound returns and is detected after the t second, which is 2 seconds. Ultrasound through the sea water velocity is equal to 1530 m by s. So the t echo, which is equal to 2 seconds, v sound, which is equal to 1530 m by s. So the sound travels total distance is equal to d plus d. See, from the seabed to the ship and from the ship to the seabed. So which is equal to 2d. So because return and the detect. So 2d is equal to vs into t. So 1530 into 2 divided by 2, which is equal to 1530. So the next question is differentiate between kinetic and potential energy. So kinetic energy is a form of energy possessed by an object due to its motion. Potential energy is the stored form of energy due to its position. So kinetic energy can be transferred from one body to another. So this transfer happens during the time of collision between two objects when it is in motion. So potential energy cannot be transferred from one body to the other body since the body possessing it is in a rest position. So kinetic energy is a relative form of energy. Potential energy is a non-relative form of energy. Kinetic energy factors affecting kinetic energy are speed, velocity and mass. So potential energy affecting factors are height, distance and mass. So the formula for kinetic energy is K is equal to half mv square. So potential energy, the formula is P is equal to mgh. The external environment impacts the amount of kinetic energy the object will gain. The external environment does not affect the amount of potential energy the object will possess. So kinetic energy example water flow. Potential energy example water present at the top of the hill. 12th question is law of conservation of energy. The law of conservation of energy states that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, only converted from one form of energy to another. So this means that a system always has the same amount of energy unless it's added from the outside. So next is define power. So power is defined as the rate of doing work. It is equivalent to an amount of energy consumed per unit time. So P is equal to W dt. So observe the diagram and answer the following question. Is the balloon moves forward or backward after removing thread tied on the neck of the balloon? Why? So that's the first question. And second is name and state law related to the given experiment. So the next question is, so when the thread on the balloon, on the neck of the balloon is removed, air escapes from mouth of the balloon with great speed. So the reaction force acts on the balloon in opposite direction, means left to right. As straw is attached to the balloon, it moves on the thread. So we have a diagram for this. I'll show you this. The balloon moves forward due to the resultant force from the air molecule still trapped inside of it. So now to the sounds of the balloons make when we talk, sound is produced by passing air over our vocal cords. So flaps of the tissue in the throat. so causing them to vibrate. So when we talk, what happens? The sound is produced by passing the so in the trachea, in the larynx and the pharynx, so these vocal cords, so they cause them to vibrate. The flap is vibrated. So next, explain why some of the leaves gets detached from the tree if we vigorously shake its branches. So if we keep on shake the branch, so when the tree is at rest, the leaves are also at rest. So when the tree is vigorously shaken, the tree is in motion. So while the leaves are at rest due to inertia, the force acts on the leaves in changing direction. So as a result, in the leaves detaching from the tree. So next, chemistry. Which of the following is not chemical change? Rust of iron, boiling of water, photosynthesis, burning of paper. So option C, boiling of water. Which of the following chemical can damage the layer of O3 in the atmosphere? Carbon dioxide, CFC, water vapor, nitrogen. CFC is the right answer. Moving on to the chemistry part. So 16th question. For any substance, why the temperature does remain constant during the change of state? The temperature of any substance remains constant throughout the state shift, since the heat energy produced is used up in changing the state of matter and also for breaking numerous bonds or attractive forces. So temperature helps, so temperature produces the heat energy, so which helps in the change of state of matter. Because of that, the numerous bonds are broken. Next question. When light is passed through a solution, Tyndall effect is not absorbed. Why? See, the particle size is very small in true solutions. It's not in the colloidal range. It's smaller than the colloidal range. So, true solutions therefore do not exhibit Tyndall influence, as the particle is not large enough to disperse the light incident on it. So next, composition of the nuclei of the two atomic species X and Y are given under the mass number of species X and Y. So in a pic it is. See, the mass number of X is equal to the number of protons, the number of neutrons, which is equal to 6 plus 6, which is equal to 12. The mass number of Y, which is equal to number of protons plus number of neutrons, which is 6 plus 8, which is equal to 14. So these two atomic species X and Y have the same atomic number but different mass number. Hence they are isotopes. Define mole concept. A mole is defined as the amount of substance comprising the same number of fundamental entities as the number of atoms present in a pure sample of carbon weighing exactly 12 grams. A mole is defined as the amount of substance that contains exactly 6.0221023 elementary entities of the given substance. So name the factors affecting evaporation. So the factors, so we have a pic over here. So temperature, on increasing the temperature, the rate of the evaporation also increases. At higher temperatures, the molecules are moving faster. Therefore, it is more likely for a molecule to have enough energy to break away from the liquid to become a gas. So wind speed and rate of evaporation are directly proportional to each other. As the wind speed increases, the rate of the evaporation also increases. The surface area, as the surface area increases, the rate of the evaporation also increases. The more area is exposed to air, allowing water molecules to acquire more heat energy from the surroundings. So humidity and rate of evaporation are inverse relation to each other. As the humidity decreases, the rate of evaporation increases. Write the distribution of electrons in different shells of sodium and chlorine atom. The electronic configuration of sodium atom is 2, 8, 1 and chlorine atom is 2, 8, 7. The atoms will form a bond by electrons. Describe Bohr's model of the atom. See, the Bohr's model postulates that electrons orbit the nucleus at fixed energy level. So orbits further form the nucleus exit at higher energy levels. So when electrons return to a lower energy level, they limit energy in the form of light. So draw the arrangement of the apparatus showing this separation of two miscible liquids by distillation. I have shown the pic. Define melting point and boiling point of a substance. How pressure affects melting and boiling point. The melting point of a substance is the temperature at which its solid and liquid phases are in balance. See, the boiling point of a substance is the temperature at which its vapor pressure equals the external pressure. Again, if the volume of the substance's liquid phase is less than the volume of the solid phase, its melting point will decrease upon the increase of the volume. See, the boiling point of liquids always increase when pressure is applied on that liquid. So next question, atomic number of an element is 11. Write the distribution of electrons in different shells. Write the schematic diagram of the atomic structure. Name the element. See, the atomic number of sodium Na is 11. The electronic distribution of the atom K2, L8 and L1. Sodium ion Na plus is formed by the removal of one electron from the atom. The electronic distribution is K2 and L8. This means that Na plus ion has the electronic configuration of any atom which is an inert gas atom. So 26, write the chemical formula of calcium oxide. It is CaO, and aluminium chloride. So it is AlCl3. Biology. So the waste disposal system of the cell is vacuole, mitochondria, lysosome and plastids. So lysosomes is the right answer. The antibiotic only work against viral infection, fungal infection, protozoan infection, bacterial infection. So bacterial infection. So an example for micronutrients is calcium, nitrogen, potassium, zinc. Zinc is the right answer. So next we come down to biology. What is immunization? Immunization is the process of giving vaccine to a person to protect them against disease. Immunity, protection by immunization is similar to the immunity of person would get from disease, but instead of getting the disease, you get a vaccine over there. So what is crop rotation? Give example. See, crop rotation is the practice of planting different crops sequentially on the same plot of land to improve soil health. So optimize nutrients in the soil. See, the consumption of the nutrients will be limited, and the compact pest and weeds pressure also. See, the same pest will not be seen because there is a crop rotation, and weeds also will be very different for different crops. So the reduction of the pest and the weeds also we can see. So that only they say compact pest and weed pressure. For example, say a farmer has planted a field of corn. So next he will be planting ragi, next paddy, like that. So the 32nd question, so draw the diagram showing the location of meristematic tissue in plant's body and label the following parts: apical meristem and lateral meristem. So 33rd question, draw the diagram of hydra and label its part, tentacles and foot. Then draw the diagram of a neuron and label the following parts: cell body and the nerve ending. So all the three diagrams I will show you now. Please practice it well so that you score good marks. So 35th question, acute and chronic illness are very different. So they are asking the difference between acute and chronic illness. So this is the answer. So these both illness are very different. So they are categorized differently. The major difference is how long the symptoms will last. See, acute illness are usually quick and very treatable, like common cold, cough and headache and all. So chronic illness are for long time, usually require treatment for the rest of your life. For example, like kidney failures, it could be, or cancer, and all these come under the chronic illness. So prevention of disease is better than cure. Justify the statement. The answer comes like this: there are some diseases for which the cure is not available. Therefore, prevention is better than cure, because viral diseases and sexually transmitted diseases are very hard to cure, and once contacted or once if anybody gets it, they can be life threatening also. So children have a weak immune system, so they need to be immunized on a regular basis. What is nitrogen fixation? So nitrogen fixation is a biological process in which nitrogen gas converted into a suitable form for plants and other microbes. So in this process, nitrogen gas present in the atmosphere is converted into ammonia and then related nitrogenous compounds. So we have a diagram for this also, so I'll be showing for you. Thirty-seventh question. So they've asked amphibian of a plant kingdom. So name them. It is bryophytes. Answer. So question B is spiny skin organisms. So these are echinoderms. So next question is egg laying mammals. So it is palpitus. So next is edible fungi. So example mushroom. So 38th question, plasma membrane is called selectively permeable membrane. So answer comes like this. A plasma membrane is called a selectively permeable membrane because it regulates the movement of the substance in and out of the cell. So it allows only suitable materials to come in and out of the cell. So it means that the plasma membrane allows only some materials to pass through it, while at the same time it blocks other materials from entering through it. So next is mitochondria is known as the powerhouse of the cell. Why? See, mitochondria are known as the powerhouse of the cell because it is responsible for the extracting energy from the food through cellular respiration. See, the energy is released in the form of adenosine triphosphate ATP. So next is plant cells are more rigid than animal cells defined. So plant cells and animal cells differ from each other concerning some organelles. So cell walls are rigid outer covering layer of the plant cell. So it is made up of cellulose and polysaccharides that makes it really tough. And it gives rigidity to the plants, means it strengthens the plant cells. So this is the reason that plant cells remain more rigid than animal cells. So differentiate between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell. We have a diagram, I will explain it. Prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. So prokaryotic cells are smaller than the eukaryotic cells. So eukaryotic cells are larger than prokaryotic cell. So member bound organelles are absent in prokaryotic cell. See, pro means primitive. Please remember like that. So prokaryotic cell, eukaryotic cell. So these are membrane bound organelles. So some of the organelles present inside the cell, they have a extra coating membrane. So that is the difference. So prokaryotic cell means primitive cell. The chromosome is singular. In eukaryotic cell, there are more than one chromosomes which are present. See, U means new. So animal cell, plant cell, these come under the eukaryotic cells. The nuclear region is not very well defined and it is called as the nucleoid in prokaryotic cell, whereas in eukaryotic cell the nuclear region is very well defined in form of separate membrane bound organelle called as the nucleus.